Hi, I'm Carlyn at the Texas Historical Commission, and welcome to another episode in our Training for Texas Museums series. It's a project that's partially funded through a generous grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. In parts 1 and 2 of this episode on photograph storage, we talked about acid-free products, archival products, and what those terms mean. We talked about paper enclosures that you can use with your photograph collections. We talked about plastic enclosures that you can use with your photograph collections. But maybe one of the other questions you've had is, do I store my photographs vertically or horizontally? Both of those options are good, and there are pros and cons, of course, to each one of those options. But the biggest thing that you need to keep in mind is that no matter what you decide, vertical or horizontal, it's important that you store like-sized images or objects together. In other words, everything in the box should be the same size. Now, even if the images or the prints themselves aren't the same size, you want the enclosures to be the same size. So say you had some photographs that were smaller than this, you would still want to put them in an enclosure that's the same size as this one so that they're uniform throughout. And what that does is help to provide the maximum amount of support for the photographs so that they don't do this kind of thing, so that they don't start slumping over. You can also use, particularly if you're using paper, which doesn't have as much rigidity as plastic, you might want to every so often insert a piece of really good quality mat board in there to help provide it with some support. You can even make some spacers so that if you have a box that's only half full, you're still providing it with that kind of support. So that's for storing things vertically, and you can get these little boxes. This one has a shallow lid. I actually prefer something that has a deeper lid if you can find it. That provides a little bit more protection from the environment, and it also provides protection if this were to ever fall off the shelf for any reason. The deeper lids tend to stay on and keep everything inside, whereas this might fall off and spill the contents. Another option for storing vertically are these document boxes, and maybe you have these for some of the paper collections that you already have in your storage. You simply put the folder in just like you would in the smaller box, as many folders as will fit in the box. You don't want to overcrowd it, of course. And again, you want to make sure that you're providing proper support so things aren't slumping down. Use the spacers, use the mat board if you need to help you do that. Storing horizontally is also okay. Vertical is really good for things that are about 8 by 10 and smaller. If you have items, though, that are larger than that, storing them horizontally, in other words, laying flat in the box, is probably a better option because you're going to be able to support them a little better. This design is really nice because it has this drop front so that you can slide objects out really easily. It's a lot easier than if this were a regular box. It can be hard to get your fingers in there or whatever to get the photographs out. If you're going to do something like this, you want to make sure that you store no more than about 20 objects in each box. More than that, you'll get a little bit too much weight on that bottom photograph and you risk damaging it. Plus, it just makes it really hard to get things in and out of the box if you have more than that. You can use things like tissue paper to interleave between things if you don't have them in enclosures. And that really works well for things that are really big, like maps or oversized prints of some kind. Now, the one thing that you didn't see me do in part 1, 2, or 3 of this episode on photo storage is wear gloves. And that's actually really important, and you need to do that when you're working with your photographic collections. It's most important for them to be lint-free, so you can wear these nitrile gloves like we've got here, or if you have the white cotton gloves that are lint-free, that's also great. If you don't have gloves, or if the photographs that you're working with are just so fragile and you're afraid that the gloves might snag them, it is acceptable to use really clean, really dry, lotion-free hands. That's another good option available to you. So I think that wraps up our 3-part episode on photo storage. As always, if you have any questions for us or if you'd like to discuss anything that we've talked about here today, you can contact us by going to our website, www.thc.state.tx.us.